I'm Frank Kern, and this is the magic two-sentence ad structure. Seriously, can you really run effective social media ads with just two sentences of ad copy? And the answer is yeah, you totally can. I'll show you an example in a minute. There's a catch to it. Not a big one. I'll show you the catch too, but let me explain how all this works. I discovered this totally by accident. I was at the airport. You know how, like, before you go on a trip and you're going to fly somewhere or whatever, and you pack up like 300 magazines and a bunch of books and stuff and all this stuff so you can not be bored on the plane, and you're not going to end up stuck having to talk to the person beside you or anything horrible. And then you get to the airport and you're like, you know what? I don't really think any of the stuff I brought with me is interesting. I'm going to go to the bookstore and buy all new stuff because that's just the way human brains work. Or maybe it's just me and I'm severely ADD, but it doesn't matter. That's what I was doing, okay? I was at the bookstore in the airport messing around, trying to find something to read, even though I had 30,000 pounds of books and stuff in a backpack with me. And I stumbled over this book right here. Now, when I saw this book, like, my head just, it exploded. Not because I take photography or photographs or anything like that. Like, I could care less about how to take great photographs. But the title of it, as a marketer, the title of that thing absolutely caught my eye. And it is using a principle that one of my teachers, Dan Kennedy, taught me over 20 years ago called dog whistle copy. And the definition of dog whistle copy is the type of copy that only your ideal prospects are going to hear or read or pay attention to, and it's likely to be ignored by everybody else. And the name comes from, there's like toy dog whistles you could order from the back of comic books, unless, of course, you were born after, say, 1980, and then you don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, there's a special kind of whistle that only dogs can hear, right? So that's what that means. And that book title, Read This If You Want to Take Great Photographs, was a classic example of dog whistle copy. Now, I didn't buy the book because I don't care anything about taking pictures, good or bad, but it stuck with me. I was like, wait a minute. If this book is like prominently displayed in the airport bookstore, it's probably selling pretty good. I did a little research. It turns out that the dude has sold a bunch of books like this using titles like Read This If You Want to Take Great Photographs of People or Animals or Nature or whatever. So I figured, man, why not just test that using ads? So I did. I started running ads, like just regular ads, which is a picture of whatever. And then the headline above the ad would say something like, read this if you want to make your social media ads work better. And then the bottom thing, which they call the headline, but it's really not, the bottom thing, next to the button on the ad would say stuff like, new PDF reveals how to make ads work better or whatever. And those ads started working. And I was like, hey, cool. This is great for lead gen, but what if you wanted to sell something directly? And I started testing ads like that. And check this out. I started testing ads that looked like this one, showing them to total strangers, by the way, that had no idea who I was. Like, I'm just some random person. And notice, this is, well, technically, I guess this is two sentences up here. It says, new, get 4 complete courses from Frank Kern for just $4. And then the bottom thingy, which they call the headline, it's really not, but whatever. It says, get 4 new marketing courses for $4. And there's a picture, and the picture is of the 4 courses. And it is obviously an ad. So nobody in their right mind would ever look at this thing or interact with it or click on it unless they were interested in buying marketing courses, or they're just like trolls or something that like to screw around on social media, which is fine, whatever, God love them, right? And the weirdest thing happened. It started working like really, really good. I ran this ad with just like that picture and those 2 sentences, and I also used the same 2 sentences but tested different pictures and tested video. Here's an example of the one that uses video right here. Again, the same 2 sentences. I mean, I guess technically 3 because the word new with an exclamation point is a sentence. But whatever. You get the point. It's literally like saying, hey, if you want to buy something, click on this ad. The question is, did it work? And did it keep working? And the answer is, well, I'll show you. So how do you take what I'm sharing with you and turn it into good results for your business? It's really simple, but you need 3 things, and these 3 things can all be gotten by using one little tool. And yes, of course, this is a shameless plug for my software that actually does all the stuff that I'm about to show you. You can try it at roas.org, ROAS.org. You can try it for free, no credit card needed. Here's what it does, and this is what you need to be able to do in order to make your ads work, whether you're using the 2-sentence strategy or not. All right. So the first thing you need is you need to be able to track with 100% accuracy how much revenue each ad is making, not just the ad set, not just the campaign, but the individual ad itself. That's critical that you know that. That's the first thing. That's not very hard. You just find something that can actually track revenue that comes from Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, that actually is super hard to do that accurately unless you use a tool like roas.org. There are other tools that are pretty good out there as well. Naturally, I like mine better because it's like mine and stuff. Now, the second thing you need is you need to be able to tell Facebook and Instagram which ads are actually bringing in revenue. You can't rely on their platform to do this for you. Their tracking isn't working properly. We've all heard all the stuff about iOS 14. It's not as bad as everybody says it is, but when it comes to this stuff, it's terrible, right? So you need to feed their computer. You need to feed their machine learning with good data. In other words, you need to be like, hey, this ad is actually making money to these people. Do more of what you were doing to get more people like these, and things are going to be good. If we're not passing the actual values back to Facebook and Instagram, then we're not going to know that, and it's not going to work. And the third thing that you need to do is you need to be able to send Facebook and Instagram signals. And by signals, I mean you need to be able to tell it when stuff needs a little bit of extra attention, and you need to tell it when to start scaling it. And all that stuff needs to be automated. Now, roas.org will do this for you. And here's why this is important, all right? Look at my screen here. So we're in a campaign for today right now. So I'm running this for you, shooting this for you on the 10th of May. I don't know when I'll release it, probably tomorrow. But I've spent $390 on this one particular campaign today. And that campaign has brought in $979, which is great. Okay, it's a 2.5 times return on my ad spend. Is awesome. I'll take it all day. That's wonderful. But here's what's making this thing cool. All right, within this campaign, I have all of these different audiences. Okay, now every single audience, they're all being shown the same type of ad, which is exactly the ones I just showed you. I haven't deviated from these ads in years. So it's just like, well, not in years, but since June or July of last year. So it's the 2 sentences plus either an image or a video. All right, so what this thing is doing is it is looking, and if these ads are profitable, like this one, for example, it will automatically raise the budget by 5% every 6 hours. So it's going to raise it a maximum of 20% per day, but it's only going to do that if it's profitable. That's thing number 1. Now, thing number 2 is I'm willing to pay a little bit more than $4 per customer. So this is a campaign that sells a four courses for $4 bundle. And I know that my average customer is actually worth like $25 or so in about 30 days. So I don't care if I don't actually make the $20 or whatever right now. However, if it goes like, if it spends $20 or something and it doesn't get any customers, then it needs to automatically turn that campaign off. All right. So ROAS will actually do that. It'll say, okay, you spent $20 right here, wealth management, for example, and if it spends $20 over however much time you want it to, it'll turn this campaign off, which is good because it keeps me from losing money. Like that's, half of making money is not losing it, right? Now, the third thing is really, really important, and that is, okay, let's say that I'm running, this campaign, and let's say it's like business mentoring right here, for example, or business networking, this audience. So all this is a random audience that I just sort of pulled out of the air to see if it would work. All right. And so let's say we've been running this thing and it's been running for 2 or 3 days and it's not quite making money. It's like this one's making a little bit of money, but let's just say that it was making like for every dollar I put in, I was getting 90 cents back. Well, I'm still getting customers. I don't really want to turn that off. So in this case, I want roas.org to tell Facebook to drop my daily spend by about 5%. And in doing so, it's sending a signal to the algorithm to make that algorithm work harder. And when you have these automations in place, it's like having someone that's just looking at your ad account 24/7, never sleeping, analyzing everything and following your instructions to the letter. And when you have that, you're able to run ads that are like, hey, get 4 marketing courses for $4 from some dude you've never seen ever. And that's the ad, and it actually works. So the reason that's working is ultimately not because I'm hyper creative or whatever. I mean, obviously, dude, it's 2 sentences of copy. The reason that's working is because in conjunction with ROAS.org, we are utilizing the algorithm's machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities, which I know it sounds like I'm already asleep, but dude, money's not boring, okay? So let me show you why this is working from just a plain English, well, I'm going to speak redneck to you, from a redneck standpoint. All right, let's get to it. So let's say you're utilizing the 2-sentence copy framework, right? And so the framework goes like this. The primary text, I like to call it the headline, but they call it the primary text, the thing above the picture, right? That's typically going to be, read this if you want big result. Okay, so if we're selling something about getting in shape or whatever, it would be, read this if you want to get in shape in the next 3 weeks. That's it. That's sentence number 1. All right. And then the thing below the picture, which they call the headline, which is backwards, we would say something like, new course reveals how to get fit in however many weeks I just said. I totally forgot how many weeks I said, by the way, but whatever. So it's really simple. Read this if you want big result, and then thing helps you get result. That's it. That's the framework. Or if you're like selling something totally mundane, like a calculator or just 4 marketing courses for $4, it could literally be awesome calculator for $3. And there's a picture of the calculator. And then under that picture, your copy says, get this amazing calculator for $3 or whatever the price was. That's the framework. Okay. Like, test this. All right. So why is it working? Okay. Here's why it's working. When you run an ad on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, I'm just going to say Facebook forever. Okay. So when you run an ad on Facebook, and let's say we're using that 2-sentence framework, and you choose an audience, and let's say that audience is everybody who likes marketing. All right. A couple of things are going on. Number one, Facebook doesn't really know if that person actually likes marketing. It thinks it does. And its ability to think clearly in this regard is greatly diminished now, thanks to the iOS 14 stuff. Again, iOS 14 and now 15 or whatever is not nearly as big a deal as what everybody says, but it's still like a thing, and this is kind of the cure for it, okay? So it's going to go out and it's going to find a bunch of people that it thinks likes marketing, all right? Doesn't know for sure, but based on what they're doing, what they're commenting on, what they're reading, what sites they're clicking on, Facebook's like, pretty sure these people like marketing. Great. Let's say that audience size is like 5 million people. Okay. And you're spending $20 a day on it, or 30 or 50 or however much you want to spend. I don't recommend starting with huge budgets, by the way. I like to do a strategy I'll show you in later videos. Anyway, Facebook's not going to be like, okay, we're going to show all of these people, this whole freaking group of people, your ad today. No, it's not going to do that. It's going to find a little pocket of people right here, and it's going to show them your ad. Now, when your ad is obviously targeting the perfect person. Let's say that, let's go back to the calculator thing, right? Because that's easy. So if we have a group of people that, are interested in calculators or math or whatever, and then our ad has a picture of a freaking calculator, and it says, new calculator, get this new calculator for $3 over the picture, and then below it, it says, new calculator, only $3, and there's a button that says learn more. If they see that ad and they click on that thing, all right? So let me do my drawing here. This is beautiful. I know. I'm an incredible artist. Thank you. Stop. Really, seriously. Okay, thank you. That's enough. All right. So anyway, they see your ad and they click on it. All right. Or they engage with it. They comment on it, or they react to it, give a thumbs up, thumb down. Or if there's a video like, hey, here's this calculator, you can get it for $3. If they watch this video, before they even get to your website, here's what's happening. All right. Facebook's machine learning right here, their algorithm is saying, okay, this person right here that clicked this ad, this person is probably the profile of who we want. Okay, so now what it can start to do, and it doesn't do this instantly, but what it starts to do is within this big old audience of 5 million people that like math or whatever, its algorithm is going to start finding people like this one. So it's going to start hunting within this little universe here until it finds a little pocket of people like this guy, right? Or girl, or whatever, or lady, or whatever you're supposed to say. I shouldn't even talk on camera, seriously. But you get the picture, all right? So that's great. So now this person, let's say another person comes and they click on your ad that's like, get a calculator for $3. And they're like, oh, cool, a calculator. And they go to your website, all right? And your website is all about calculators, or more specifically about selling this calculator. Here's what's happening. Facebook, and let me just draw, so you got a little video about a calculator or whatever, and it says calculator on here a couple times or whatever. What's going to happen is Facebook is going to know, because it crawls your website just like Google does or whatever when you get stuff indexed in the search engines. Facebook is going to know, oh, okay, this website right here is about calculators and stuff, and this person clicked on the page about calculators. That means this person is probably really the right profile for us, all right? And now, if that person makes a purchase, then Facebook is going to know for sure. They're going to be like, oh, okay, wait a minute. We have all these data points now. We know what type of people are interacting with this ad. We know what type of people are actually clicking over here. They even know how long you're spending on the web pages you click on when you click from an ad. And we know who's buying. So if you can pass all of this data back over to Facebook, it's just going to get smarter and smarter and smarter, all right? And it's called training your pixel, and it's called training their artificial intelligence, because if we get an audience of 1 million people or whatever, that likes math or socks or marketing or something, we would have to spend $1 gazillion to show your ad to every single person in that audience. And we don't know if every single person in that audience is a good fit for your stuff or not. But what will tell us, better than anything on the planet, if your audience, if these people are interested and if they're good, it's not what they say, it's what they do, their actions. So every time somebody clicks on an ad that is incredibly obvious in terms of who it's for, like, read this if you want more consulting clients. New course reveals how to get consulting clients easy, or whatever. When someone clicks on that data is going back to Facebook, and Facebook's algorithm's getting a little bit smarter. When they go to your web page, Facebook's algorithm gets a little bit smarter. When they buy stuff from you, Facebook's algorithm gets a little bit smarter, but it doesn't stop there. Because if they buy something from you later, like let's say your sales cycle is 2 weeks or something like that, right? If you're running a webinar or whatever, well, they can only track stuff for 7 days typically. But if you have something like ROAS that'll take all that data and send it back to Facebook every time they buy something, even if it's a freaking year from now, it's just going to train that pixel even more. All right. So the final phase of this is now when you're sending those signals. Let's say for the sake of illustration, you just have one ad and you're running it to one audience just to keep things easy. Okay, so we got this audience and this 5 million people and they're interested in whatever calculators, right? And for a while, before we go further, let's say that your target is you want to make $2 for every dollar you spend it, right? So for every dollar you put into ads, you want to get $2 back, just for example. Cool. Okay, so we're running ads, and we're running that simple 2-sentence ad structure, all right? So this is just a 2S. That doesn't even look like 2S, but whatever. It's an ad with 2 sentences, just like I told you about. So obviously what they're going to do is they're going to take a tiny little group of people. They're not going to look in the entire giant audience of 5 million. They're going to find one little pocket of people. They're going to start showing that pocket of people your ad. And let's say for a while that you're getting that 2x return on ROAS. Let's say, as a matter of fact, that it's doing really, really well. Well, if it's doing really well, we're obviously sending that data back to Facebook. But if we also say, hey, Facebook, this is doing pretty good, why don't you go get us more of these people? Easiest way to do that is to scale the budgets, right? So if you automate stuff and you say, okay, if my ad sets, my campaigns, my audience or whatever is getting better than 2x return, then I want you to increase my budget by 5%. Let's say you do it every 6 hours or whatever, once a day, doesn't matter. Let's just say you increase the budget right there. When you do that, all right, it's sending a signal to Facebook's algorithm going, hey, dude, good job. Keep finding more of this one profile here. Okay, we like this person. This person's great. Keep finding more of them. Now, we would think that we could just set that and forget it, right? But there is no such thing as set it and forget it forever when it comes to marketing with social media. So what will happen eventually is this, all right? Let me do a little erasing here. So what's going to happen is over time, could be tomorrow, could be a week or whatever, you might start seeing this little pocket of people right here. Give me back my pen. They might start dipping down to where now they're only giving you like a 1.9%. Or 1.9x. So for every dollar you put in, it's now instead of getting $2, you're only getting 1.9. Now that might be okay with you, but maybe it isn't. Let's say that like that's a little questionable and you don't like it. Well, what you can do, especially if you use ROAS.org, you automate this whole thing, is you say, okay, look, if I'm getting less than 1.9x on my ads, what I want you to do is I want you to lower that budget by 5%. All right. So when we do this, what it's saying is, all right, Facebook, the people in this little pocket right here, these guys aren't performing as well anymore. We want you to go out and maybe like start looking around over here and start trying to find us other people and see. All right. Now, a lot of times just doing these little micro bid adjustments, they cause everything to work really, really well. That's how I've been able to run these ads that say 4 marketing courses for $4 from some dude you've never seen in your life and actually have it work. Now, how do we take it one step further and protect yourself from loss? It's really simple. We can say, okay, let's say that whatever happens, let's say the ads never work, right? And instead, what we're getting, now we're running, the same audience and everything right here. How about I redraw it so it doesn't look so stupid? All right, so this is our 5 million person audience. We're showing them our ad. It's a 2-sentence ad. All right. Now let's say that we don't make money on this. So for every dollar we put in, we're only getting 60 cents back. We're losing money on this. What do? It's real simple, right? Number one, you need to understand how much you're willing to pay for a lead or a customer or whatever. All right. So let's say it's $15. So for me on my ads, my $4 thing, I don't like to pay more than $15 for a customer if they're not immediately making me money over a 7-day period. So this is what I do, and this is what I recommend you do as well. Of course, you need to know your own numbers, all right? So what I'll say is, okay, if over the last 7 days I have spent more than $15 and my return on ad spend is less, so that's a less than sign, 0.60, meaning I haven't really gotten as many customers as I want, all right, then pause the ad set. And so that keeps you from losing money. And the way you can scale when you're doing these 3 simple things right here is you just have a whole bunch of different ad sets running at really small budgets to start, and then you let the automations turn off the stuff that doesn't work, and then scale up the stuff that does. Pretty sweet. That's how the 2-sentence copy strategy works. You know what's really cool, by the way, is this particular campaign you're looking at. This went live last night, and it's working really, really well. If we sort it by ROAS, we can see that some of these audiences are super good. Like I spent $2.94 and got 143x ROAS. That's great. I spent almost $3 and got $422. I think that's okay. I'll take that. Now, should I go and scale this audience and say, okay, let's switch this from $200 a day to $1,000 a day? We're going to be rich. No, don't do that. It'll break it. Use this little micro bidding method that I'm showing you. It's been working extremely well. If you want to automate your stuff and track everything totally accurately, just go to ROAS.org. Works great. You don't need a credit card to sign up. You can try it for a week. No credit card needed. Totally free. If you like it after a week, then you can pay for it and then keep on using it. If you don't, then don't worry about it. We'll deactivate the account for you anyway. All right. So regardless of whether or not you use ROAS, I hope you see the power of the 2-sentence copy framework. What it's ultimately doing is not being lazy creatively. It is training Facebook's machine learning to find you the right people, because if somebody clicks on an ad that says, get a calculator for $3, they're obviously interested in calculators, probably. You never know with people on the internet. But what's going to happen is that pixel, and Facebook's algorithm is going to keep on looking now for more and more people like those. That's what makes all this stuff work. A little bit of logic. Who knew? Logic and math. But you know what it leads to? It leads to money. Everybody loves that. Thanks so much for watching this. Try ROAS.org. I think you'll love it. Take it easy.